So I started motorcycling at 6 years old. I just fell in love with them straight away. That sense of freedom, the adrenaline buzz that you get, the fact that they make you happy. Bad days, I went out on them to clear my head. If I had things on my mind I need to think about, I went out on them. And just times when you just wanted to be free and live. Passion of mine was I've always loved the older bikes and always wanted to go into business. And my love for them, my passion was so strong that it was something that I just couldn't say no to. Mid 2021, brand new bike. We went out to bike night. On the way home, split second, changed my life forever. I went to overtake a van and they decided they wanted to change lanes and trapped me in the bike, trapped my leg, and then flipped the whole bike over. Flew 40 feet through the air. The consultants reckon with the calculations that I ended up hitting the deck at 130 miles an hour. And then I had a head anaesthetist that stopped, bless him. He kept my airways open. And then from there, ambulance obviously come and got me, resuscitated twice. Once in the ambulance, once when I got to the hospital. And I was in such a bad way, they just put me straight into an induced coma. Told my family that I didn't have the strength to pull through. They didn't think I had the strength for any of the operations. So they left me there for 4 days. My chest operation was my main one. I shattered the whole left of my rib cage and they had to take a third of my left lung. So that ended up being, I think, 22 hours operation in the end. Must have been horrible for my family. And then from there, they started patching my leg up, major damage to my tibia, my fibia. I broke my left knee, my lower back, my pelvis, which I'd shattered in 5 places. I had no recollection of the accident. I had such a bad brain injury, not being able to file things properly, things just spinning around my head. I had no recollection until probably 10, 12 weeks after. Yeah, just so surreal. It was just so hard to believe. I felt in pain, but not as bad as they were saying. And that denial carried on for probably the first 12, 18 months. Completely convinced I was going to walk again. Completely convinced that if I put the effort in, my leg would be fine. Everything would be fine, really. Yeah, so Derriford Hospital obviously were full at that time. It was COVID. So they were looking to move me. They ended up sending me to the little community hospital. I was in a wheelchair at this point, but still struggling to get out of bed on my own, using a commode. I wasn't seeing any consultants. I wasn't seeing any physios. And it was a 26-week waiting list for the community care. I was watching patients pass away in the same ward, and it was just something I couldn't stand. So I spoke to the matron of the ward and said to her, "You've got to get me out of here. I've got my wheelchair, I've got my bag, and I'll push myself out if I have to, but I'd rather work with you." And yeah, so they worked with me in the end. Left hospital without a care package. Couldn't go home because I lived a 3-story house and obviously couldn't walk. Friends, they took me in. That was a bit too much for them, so I ended up moving in with my girlfriend at the time. She was a nurse, so she was working 12-hour shifts, a lot of nights. She slept most of the day, so I was trying to get myself up, get myself downstairs, into the wheelchair at the bottom of the stairs, trying to make food, trying to use the crutches was chaos with the weight and setting the nerve pain off. So sent me into a battle with my own mental state. Recovering from a head injury, your mood swings, you're angry, you're crying your eyes out. The waiting list for psychiatrists was horrendous. Obviously, I couldn't work. Business ended up being closed because there was no one to take it over. Yeah, which was a huge loss for me, massive loss for me, financially and mentally. Got to the stage where I couldn't cope anymore and was going to commit suicide. She rang the police that day. That's when I got into the psychiatrist. It was rushed through, which was really the start to recovery in one way, but ended up splitting up me and my girlfriend. So I ended up in a B&B temporarily, ended up going back home in the end. Real struggle, just trying to get over my mental state, trying to get over the split from my girlfriend, trying to still adapt and cope with my injuries. My psychiatrist at the time was fantastic. She got me under the consultant in the head injury to work out where my problems were, giving me a bit more understanding. I was then introduced to a case manager from the insurance company, who was also an occupational therapist. Those two helped with all the support from physios, consultants. The support they give me really got me on the road to self-belief again, building my confidence again. Dorset Orthotics. I went there initially for an amputation. I was fed up with my leg. I'd spoken to amputees and consultants and the people that make the legs. Spoke to a gentleman called Rodri, worked in the army for 30 years with people with amputees. And he convinced me that it was worth trying to save it. I was still young enough to do it in 4 or 5 years' time. So I ended up with a reactor brace. So that gave me my freedom back. This was 2024 now. I walked with no crutches. I didn't have to worry about a wheelchair. I didn't have to use my scooter. And it was a new lease of life. It really was. Then I got introduced to the Bike Experience, which is a charity that helps disabled riders get back into riding safely. So they got me on a bike, which was something I never believed I could do again. The Bike Experience took me to Silverstone. First of all, they bring out a little 125 with big wings that go down, so you can't fall off it. And from there, you've progressed up onto an 850. And I was full bore. I'd got the pegs down, scraping. And yeah, they said when was the last time I was on a bike? It was 4 years ago. And they were in disbelief as well. So my recovery has been a massive battle. Without certain people along my way, the anaesthetist that stopped, kept my airways open, my physician and my case manager. Through Dorset Orthotics, I got introduced to Day One Trauma Support, who then give me an opportunity to talk to peer support people to help with my mental side, to show me what people are capable of, how far they've got, even though we've got those battles ahead of us. I feel really lucky to have had those people behind me, which is one of the reasons why my new challenge in life is try and raise money for Day One Trauma Support, the Bike Experience, and the National Association for Disabled Bikers. I'm going to be leaving from Plymouth through France. I'm going up the Pyrenees, into Andorra, down into Barcelona, right the way through the centre of Spain, into Portugal. Going to follow the whole coast all the way around, into northern Spain, up into the Cambrian Mountains, San Sebastian, Bilbao, Santander, Plymouth, 3,500 miles. Yeah, I'm not really sure whether I'm going to make it, but I'm going to give it a go. I've never been one to sit around, so this is the first of many, I hope. Just try and give people hope and support as well, that anything's possible. Yeah, so 5 years in now, I've come to the realisation that I've found peace in myself. It's been a huge battle to get there. Without accepting your injuries, without understanding the pain and the challenges that you have for the rest of your life, without accepting that, you can't move forward, I believe. Just give me belief that maybe I can go back to work again and just do more to help people get through what is a horrendous journey. If I can just get on a bike and ride even like once a month, have that freedom and that passion and love again. That belief and hope is one of the most important things to keep us going and moving forward.